Okay, sorry. My last video cut me off with my time. All right, so again, humanistic perspective. So really, these guys, Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers, the idea for humanistic is that they believe people are basically good. Okay, so you really need to underline, highlight. That is key for the humanistic perspective. It is that idea. People are basically good. They're striving to be better people. They want to have that. So yeah, and so we have Abraham Maslow, Carl Rogers. Okay, so Abraham Maslow, you should all, when I said that name, you should have had this image of the pyramid, the hierarchy of needs here. That should have popped right into your head. And if it didn't, you better start connecting Abraham Maslow with this. Okay, so Maslow, he proposed that as individuals are motivated by the hierarchy of need. That's what motivates us. Okay, so the physiological, the safety needs, these are our basic needs. We talked about that. Then we have our belonging, the esteem needs. I need to belong to a group. I need to feel loved. I need to have good feelings about myself, like a good self-esteem. And then remember, we had at the top was the self-actualization. And self-actualization is where you find that purpose in your life. And then remember, we added that before he died, he actually added a sixth level to his pyramid, his hierarchy of needs. And that was that self-transcendence that he also that you not only know what is my purpose, but now I found my purpose, and now I'm doing more of like the philanthropic work, and I'm a philanthropist. I'm going out and I'm helping others. So we start with that physiological need, and we try to reach to the top where I know my full potential. And then not only do I know my full potential, but then that self-transcendence where I use my full potential to help other people. Okay, so that was our Abraham Maslow. Okay, so then Carl Rogers. So he's more of this growth and fulfillment. So he believed in individuals' self-actualization needs as well. He also, you need to know this, underline this for Carl Rogers. It's this thing called unconditional positive regard. Okay, so unconditional, it's an attitude of acceptance of others amidst their failings. So unconditional positive regard, this is like what parents have for their children. No matter what, we still love our kids. This is how I am with my students. No matter what, I still love them. So they have a bad day. Okay, we all do. Doesn't mean I like you any less, or I love you any less, or I care for you any less. It was a bad day. Okay, and so that's kind of what Carl Rogers. So that's, again, if we go back to this main idea for a humanistic perspective, the idea that people are all basically good. Well, then that goes like hand in hand with Carl Rogers' unconditional positive regard. That despite, no matter what happens, there's still that. Okay, so a little bit more with this. According to Rogers, an attitude of total acceptance toward another person. We said that. Genuineness. Freely expressing your feelings and not being able to like disclose details about yourself. So like I can be genuine with someone. Like I can tell them exactly how I feel. And I don't have to be like, oh, I really probably I can't tell them that. It's like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. So that's that genuineness. And then empathy. So we know sympathy is, oh, I feel so bad for them. Like that's so horrible. Like, oh, I just feel so bad. That's sympathy. Empathy is when I can share thoughts and understanding. This is more of like our active listening. Empathy is I can reflect. I understand. I've been there. It's happened to me too. I understand where you're coming from. Okay, active listening is when I'm actively doing that. So, okay, so I say, this is just really frustrating right now and I'm really stressed. Well, me to active listen with that, be like, so I hear you're saying you're stressed. I get that. I hear you're overwhelmed. I hear you say this. It's almost like you're paraphrasing what someone said to show them that you are really listening. Okay, and then assessing the self. In an effort to assess personality, Carl Rogers, he asked people to describe themselves as they would like to be. That would be like our ideal self. Okay, and he asked them to describe how they actually are. So was this concept of what is your ideal self versus what is your real self? So if in a perfect world you could create your ideal self, tell me, describe the ideal Jen Dennis. Awesome. All right. And then I describe, everything about it. And then he would say to me, okay, now please describe for me the real Jen Dennis. Tell me what she's like. Tell me about her. All right. Now, after I did those things, if the two descriptions of my ideal self and of my real self, if they were close, and they were fairly similar, then Carl Rogers would say that I had a positive self-concept. And if they were like night and day different and super, super far apart, then he would say they have a negative self-concept. Okay? So all our thoughts, our feelings about ourselves, these kind of really answer that question of who am I? And again, the who am I, that's our self-concept. Who am I? Okay, and so we have this kind of ideal versus real self that we were talking about. All right, so humanism today. What does it look like? So this has influenced therapy. It's influenced the workplace. So if you are kind of that IO psychologist for like the careers when we talked about those, they would use some of these humanistic ideas. And for child rearing, when you're trying to, that unconditional positive regard, that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the ideal self, the self-concept, the positive self-image. So all of that, and the idea that we can all be good. Okay, all of these humanistic ideas from like the 1960s, they all kind of laid that foundation for this today. It's called positive psychology, is kind of a newer type of psychology and field of psychology today. And positive psychologists really took a lot of these ideas from the humanists like Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow. And application, this is so applicable to education. I mean, if any of you are going into the field of education, I guarantee you will hear about Abraham Maslow and his hierarchy of needs. It is completely connected to, okay, what's really important here? That we get these students this and that they're safe and they feel safe here, or that they really know the specific date that this event happened. Really, in the big scheme of things, what's more important? And that's kind of what we use and how we take Abraham Maslow's ideas and apply them into the field of education. One of the many ways we do that. All right. So that is it for modules 56. We are I'll do another video for these next sets soon.